It has become increasingly important to get children out of the classroom and into other places in the built environment as part of their creative learning. Entering the building from the street, the children explore the different spaces of the building and engage with the strange objects the building contains. The intention of the project is that they should learn the story of these objects through a state of heightened awareness that makes them more receptive and open to engagement with the objects and the process of interpretation that is at the core of creative learning. In developing this project, we share the belief that spatial awareness and understanding in children is not a natural outcome of their contemporary lifestyle. In other words, if children are to develop spatial awareness as part of their creative learning process, they have to move through spaces of differing scale and enclosure, to experience firsthand the full range of light and dark, silence and noise, rough and smooth, high and low, level and steep. The list is a long one, but every part of it is important in terms of a child's development. It is not just the words to describe the experience, but the experience itself that is important.
Where are we going now?
After the visit to the museum, the children return to the smaller spaces of the Children's Centre building to work with their creative collaborators in developing a sensory world in which to explore the narrative of their visit to the museum.
A lion.
The big lions.
What other animals did we see in there?
This they did with projected images of puppets on screens of different transparency. They projected these images on the surfaces of the room, but on the surfaces where such images do not usually appear, like the floor and the ceiling. As well as images of the creatures they had seen, the children cast their own shadows on the surfaces of the space and explored how these shadows grew large and small as the light source moved in the space. In these workshops, the children began to use light as a means of exploring the surfaces of the space, to use a small pinpoint of light to track across the surfaces of the space and the screens that subdivided it. This they would do when they returned to the museum, but on a much larger scale. On returning to the museum, the children focused on the Mammal Gallery, a large space with different levels and staircases, characteristic of the Victorian architecture of the museum buildings. The gallery is full of glass cases which contain stuffed animals and the skeletons of animals in a range of natural poses. The high roof space contains the suspended skeleton of a whale that is, as was pointed out to the children, not dissimilar to the timber and cast iron structure of the building. To assist the children in experiencing the height, volume and intricacy of this space, we suspended lengths of semi-translucent fabric from tension wires between the gallery rails. These formed screens on which the filmed images of the children were projected at a scale that filled the space. They cast shadow images of the animals and the skeletons in the cases and the complex structure of the roof space on the walls around them. The importance of the type of project illustrated in this film is that it stimulates an openness of mind to spatial experience in children, as is summed up in the words of Jean Piaget in his book, The Child's Conception of Space. It is quite obvious that the perception of space involves a gradual construction of experience and certainly does not exist ready-made at the outset of the child's mental development. The intuition of space is not a reading or apprehension of the properties of objects, but from the very beginning, an action the child performs on and around the objects.
Can you see the